اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Rifai ibn Rafi az-Zuraqi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, we were offering salah behind the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day. When he raised his head from the rak'ah, he said, Sami Allahu liman hamida. Allah heard the one who praised him. The person said, Rabbana walakal hamd, hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fih. O our sustainer, praise is due to you alone, praise which is abundant, pure and blessed. When he, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, completed the salah, he asked, who was the one who uttered these words? The man said, it was me. He said, I saw over 30 angels, each one competing with the other in order to be first to record the reward for them. Mentioned by Bukhari. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when the Imam stands upright from the bowing posture and says, Sami Allahu liman hamida, then say, Rabbana lakal hamd. Surely he whose statement coincides with that of the angels shall have his past sins forgiven. Mentioned by Muslim. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the closest a person is to his sustainer is when he is in prostration, to supplicate abundantly when you are in prostration. Mentioned by Muslim. Note, special attention should be given to supplication in the prostrations of optional salah. Ubadah ibn Asamit radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that he heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, when a person prostrates for the sake of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu most certainly records thereby one good deed, wipes out one sin, and raises his rank by one. So engage in abundant prostrations, in other words, offer salah in abundance. Mentioned by Ibn Majah. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when man recites a verse of prostration and prostrates, thereafter Shaitan separates himself and cries out saying, O destruction to me, the progeny of Adam was ordered to prostrate and he did so. So he became eligible for paradise. When I was ordered to prostrate, I refused. I have thus become eligible for the hellfire. Mentioned by Muslim. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates in a lengthy hadith that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when Allah Jalla Jalaluhu completes passing judgment on the people and wills to remove through his mercy whomever he wills from the inmates of the hellfire, he orders the angels to remove from the hellfire those who did not ascribe any partner with Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and who said, La ilaha illallah, there is none worthy of worship except Allah. The angels will recognize them through the marks of prostration. The hellfire will devour everything except the marks of prostration because Allah Jalla Jalaluhu prohibited the hellfire from devouring the marks of prostration. These people will then be removed from the hellfire. Mentioned by Muslim. Note, the marks of prostration refers to the 7 parts of the body with which a person prostrates. For example, both hands, both knees, both feet, and the forehead, together with the nose. Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to teach us the tashahhud just as he used to teach us a chapter from the Quran. Mentioned by Muslim. Khafar ibn Ima ibn Rahada al-Ghifari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sit at the end of his salah, he used to point with his index finger. The polytheists used to say that he, Allah forbid, is performing magic with it. They are lying. He was actually referring to the oneness of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, Tawheed. Mentioned by Musnad Ahmad. Nafi Rahimahullah narrates, Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu used to sit in salah. He would place his hands on his knees and point with his index finger and direct his gaze towards his finger. He then said, after the salah, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this index finger is harder on shaitan than steel. In other words, pointing to the oneness of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu with the index finger while reciting the tashahhud is more effective against shaitan than shooting arrows, etc. to him. Mentioned by Musnad Ahmad. Humility and devotion in Salah. Quranic verses. حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says, safeguard all the salahs, especially the middle salah, for example the Asr salah, and stand in devotion before Allah. Surah Al-Baqarah. واستعينوا بالصبر والصلاة وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says, seek help through patience and salah. Salah is most certainly difficult except on those who are humble. Surah Al-Baqarah. Note, patience entails man abstaining from personal desires, fulfilling all the injunctions of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu and bearing hardships. Mentioned by Kashaf al-Rahman. This verse orders us to exercise patience in practicing on Islam and seeking help through salah. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu says, the believers are most certainly successful. They are the ones who are humble in their salah. Surah Al-Mu'minun. Osman radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, when the time of a compulsory salah approaches and a believer performs a proper ablution, offers his salah with total humility and carries out the bowing posture, ruku, in the proper manner, this salah will most certainly be an atonement for the past sins, provided he did not commit a major sin. He will continue acquiring this merit of salah forever. Mentioned by Muslim. Note, humility in salah entails having the fear and the way of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu in one's heart, and the limbs being subdued. Humility also entails directing one's gaze towards the spot of prostration when standing in salah, towards the toes when in the bowing posture, towards the nose when in prostration, and towards the lap when in the sitting posture. Bayan al-Quran. Zayd ibn Khalid al-Juhanni radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the person who performs a proper ablution and then offers 2 rakats of salah without forgetting anything therein, for example, he remains attentive towards Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, his past sins are forgiven. Mentioned by Abu Dawud. Uqba ibn Amir al-Juhanni radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a person performs a complete ablution and then stands in his salah while knowing what he is reading, for example, with concentration, he will most certainly complete his salah like the day his mother gave birth to him, having no sin against him. Mentioned by Hakim. Umran, the freed slave of Osman radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, Osman ibn Affan radiallahu ta'ala anhu asked for ablution water and performed ablution as follows. He washed his hands till his wrist 3 times. He rinsed his mouth and stepped water into his nostrils. Washed his face 3 times. Washed his right hand till his elbows 3 times. Washed his left hand as he did the right. Passed wet hands over his head. Washed his right foot till his ankles 3 times. And washed his left foot as he did his right. He then said, I saw the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam performing ablution as I did just now. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said, whoever performs ablution as I did and then stands up to offer 2 rakats of salah without his thoughts straying therein shall have his past sins forgiven. Ibn Shabab Rahimahullah said, our ulama used to say this is the most complete form of ablution for salah. Mentioned by Muslim. Abu Darda radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, the person who performs a proper ablution and then offers 2 or 4 rakats salah one of the narrators is not sure, performing the bowing posture properly therein and offers them with humility and then seeks forgiveness from Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, he shall be forgiven. Mentioned by Ahmed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to make amal upon whatever we have listened to, and may He give us the tawfiq to send this to others, inshallah. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayh.